We could buy food from anywhere. You don't need to... Ooh. Ooh. Bye. In 2019, I cut up all of my shopping loyalty cards. In fact, I did it in front of you. Have I stuck to that? Do I regret the ones I cut up? Have I got any of them back? Let's talk about it. Hi, I am Lena. This is the Forest of Discontent, my ranting wood, and I come here when I have something to rant about. And today I want to talk about loyalty cards. In the UK, loyalty cards are a huge part of shopping culture. Boots loyalty card, I think I had one of those when I was about 14. Every supermarket has a club card or a points card of some kind. You can get them for petrol stations, you can get them for craft shops, book shops, coffee shops, a lot. It can be a lot. But with the rise of phones and using your phones more like you use your wallet, it's become much easier to join a loyalty scheme. The loyalty schemes that are having the most impact right now, though, have to be the supermarkets because of the cost of living. In the UK, the cost of living crisis is absolutely bending over the economy. It is absolutely insane to me how much groceries cost. It seems that I can't cross the threshold of Sainsbury's without spending £30, and I look down at my bag and I'm just like, that's some fairy liquid and a bloody collection of potatoes in there. How the hell is that £30? When I was a student, which admittedly was a long time ago, in 2010, I would easily budget my weekly food shop at £25, maybe £30 if I was feeling fancy, and that honestly feels like a hilarious pipe dream to me now. One of the only ways to access vaguely affordable groceries, which are still incredibly overpriced compared to like the average salary, is having one of these loyalty cards. In fact, the government recently did an investigation into like if loyalty cards actually give you a discount, and I was kind of skeptical about it. I was kind of like, maybe they're just rising their prices so then they can discount them and make us feel like we're making a saving. But no, we're genuinely making a saving, an average in fact of about 25%. There's two functions to the loyalty cards. Like there's the points that you accumulate from spending, but there's also just like the per item discounts you get from having one of these magical cards. But I've been seeing a lot of reporting recently about how the loyalty card system is actually widening the gap between people who are less fortunate and people who can get loyalty cards, because here's the rub: if you're under 18, you can't get a loyalty card for most supermarkets. And so there's loads of like 16 or 17 year olds who are functionally fending for themselves when it comes to food, at least in the day, and they're having to pay full price for their meal deals, while like Greg, who's like your CEO at your office, who's probably on like 80 grand a year, 90 grand a year, he's getting a discount. Make it make sense. Also people without fixed addresses, etc, etc, etc. So why are they doing this? Why wouldn't they just give everybody the discount? Then everybody would be motivated to shop with them, and then everyone would associate their brand with bargain prices. Well, they're probably tracking us. I mean, they are. They're definitely. Oh, why am I saying probably? They're tracking us. It is much more advantageous for them to know not only my current weekly shop, but what I bought last week and the week before and what I'm consistently buying. And then they can print me out those little discount things to make sure if there's anything that I've stopped buying, especially the more expensive products, they can give me a little print out voucher to be like, remember those emperor mushrooms, Selena? Didn't you like them? Don't you remember they're organic? Why do you want the boring basic mushrooms when you can have the king diamond encrusted ultra natural oyster mushrooms? It's to make sure that you don't stray to other supermarkets, because you have all these extra vouchers for next time you return, and it would be silly to go and cheat on them with another supermarket when you've got a voucher right in your wallet waiting for you to spend. So yeah, I do have a loyalty card for my supermarket, even though I know what they're doing, because unlike makeup or toiletries or books or craft supplies, the volume of food that I need to buy to, I don't know, live is very high, and therefore going without the discount at this point would sabotage my finances essentially. But apart from the Nectar card, I don't have any mainstream loyalty cards still. It's been 6 years, no Waterstones card, despite having spent, probably a considerable amount on Waterstones over the past few years. No Boots card, no Superdrug card, none of it. And I actually have no regrets, because while I do shop in those places occasionally, I've noticed that I shop in them a lot less, because I mean, your brain might be stronger than mine, but my piddly little brain cannot help getting sucked into what is called the sunk cost fallacy. The idea that you've already spent a certain amount in a shop and you've accumulated a certain amount of points, and wouldn't it be a shame to stop shopping there now? Wouldn't it be a waste to get that face cream elsewhere, even if it's at a cheaper price or from a more local, sustainable, ethical, tax-paying business? Because think of the points. You're halfway to a free toothbrush. Wouldn't it be a bad financial decision to not claim the rest of those points by stopping shopping there? Every time I get questioned in Boots, like, do you have a Boots card? And then they just like tell me on the receipt how much I would have saved if I had a Boots card. I remind myself that they're called loyalty cards for a reason. When you get one, you're subconsciously pledging your loyalty to that brand, and I feel no loyalty to that brand, and by not accepting the loyalty card, which is a privilege of mine, I get that, it is a privilege to be able to pay another 90p, another 50p, but by doing that I'm reminding myself that while this shopping choice is alright, it's not my ideal one. My loyalties do not lie in this shop. And it means that if I'm at a local market or I see a small startup brand online that is selling toiletries that I would buy anyway, well then there's no voice in the back of my head that's like, you've got those loyalty points there that you need to spend. Don't you remember that Boots has a double points deal going on? Because again, I think when I had some of these cards, they do like little weekends or little moments, pockets in the year where you'd be able to get double points, and it felt like a really good financial decision to go and buy stuff that I didn't even know I wanted, like manufactured desires because of the deals. It felt like a sensible, smart, money saving thing to do, and it wasn't. In fact, I was probably spending more money, which is why when I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a privilege for me to spend 50p more on my face cream or whatever I buy from Boots sometimes, I do think that also I am not spending as much money in the long term because there's no framework for them to keep tempting me in to spend. But I think the tendency to want a loyalty card, to enjoy collecting points on a loyalty card, gives me some hope, and I'll tell you why. This idea of corporate personhood, that companies want to seem like people and therefore inspire human emotions in you like loyalty, is because it works. And it works because we genuinely want connection with other people. We genuinely want to know who we're buying from. We want to feel like things are local and we know the sources of the things that we buy and take into our houses. And these big companies have very big research teams and marketing departments, and they know that and they exploit that. But I find some hope in the fact that that is their main strategy, because it must be what we genuinely really want. We want to return to familiar places. We want to buy from familiar faces. We want to know where our stuff is coming from. We want some kind of consistency, and that's good news because we can have that when we shop local. Generally, I do have some loyalty cards for local businesses. My general rule of thumb is if it's on a piece of card with an actual physical stamp, then I'm like, you're a small enough business for me to want to be loyal to you. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not too precious about those cards because I'm also kind of like, well, I want you to have my money. I don't actually kind of want a discount. I want you to charge me full price because I know you've priced that thing in a way that means that you can pay your bills at the end of the month. And God knows that a lot of small businesses are closing down. So I do collect those loyalty cards, but if I lose them, or if I have to get another one, or if I never spend them, I'm not that upset about it because I'm trying to remind myself that the aim of the game is not to get free stuff. It's to make sure that everybody who makes the stuff that must definitely cost money to make gets paid. There are a few companies that give me loyalty points against my will, which is very nice of them, like Space NK. I occasionally buy from them online. They're like a makeup company, probably a couple of times a year, and I need to have an account with them so that I can order from them. But to have an account with them, they just like every time you buy from them, they automatically add points to your account. And that, I think, is the universe giving me an opportunity for willpower to exercise my admittedly quite weak willpower and try to make sure if I do spend those points or those discounts that I spend them on stuff that I genuinely would have bought anyway, although who can tell what that is in this fucking hellscape. Anyway, that was my rant about loyalty cards. How do you feel about loyalty cards? Do you have any? How do you feel about the discrepancy between people who can access loyalty cards? Is that okay when it's perfume and nail varnish, but is that a little bit weirder when it's like potatoes, vitamins, medicine, flour. And do you genuinely think that having a loyalty card changes how you shop? Because I'd love to hear. Maybe for some of you it genuinely just makes sense and it doesn't affect you, and to that I say, teach me your ways. Thank you so much for watching this video. The reason it is logistically viable for me to talk on the internet about consumerism critically and then not be sponsored by somebody who is contradicting all of those ideals is because I am supported on Patreon by the people in what I call the Gumption Club. We've just revised the tiers and started doing it monthly, so you can now leave a thank you every month for all the free content I make by buying me a lolly or a coffee or a cinnamon bun, or if you're feeling really fancy, a pizza. We also have gift membership options now, and you can pay yearly and get a discount. Oh my god, is that a contradiction? Me offering a yearly discount. Oh my god. Am I the Boots loyalty scheme? I'll leave you to make your own consumer decisions. I trust you, you're grown-ups. So yeah, thank you so much to the Gumption Club for making all these videos possible. I really appreciate it. I'm here every week. I'd love for you to stick around if you're new. I like talking about buying stuff secondhand, avoiding the corporate hellscape as much as possible, learning to make my own clothes, and untangling my own feelings about being part of capitalism. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. From me and the discontented forest, Frog Snog out.